what is the biggest project you've ever won on Upwork?
I think it's around 300K per year.
You're at a point where you weren't sure whether the business was going to work. You thought maybe I need to just stop and go and get a job.
I had 2 big clients who paid for everything. I knew that client would stop working with us. And this is where my panic started.
Fast forward to today, and one of the things that you said to me was, I would never consider getting a job now. I have this feeling, this sense of confidence that no matter what happens, things will be okay.
I think I was too focused on outcomes, how many projects you closed this month, and this is a little bit out of your control. The big thing is conversations. When you show up on the first meeting with the potential client, how did I behave? You have something they don't have, not the other way around.
What other tools, what other strategies have you used in order to land these big projects?
Yeah, I think what helped.
Welcome to the Creative Courage podcast. I'm your host, Matt Essam. And today I'm talking to a client, Sergey, who has previously closed multiple 6-figure deals using Upwork. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to interview Sergey is because, first of all, he's got an incredible story, but also he's been a client of mine for about 2 years now, maybe just over 2 years, and his business has grown exponentially. And when I was kind of asking him about how he had grown it, he shared some really powerful strategies with me and some things that he's learned, but also applied to Upwork, which I've not seen anyone do before. So if you've ever considered Upwork, or maybe you have some beliefs about it, like, oh, it's just low value clients on there, just tire kickers, then listen to this episode. As always, if you found it valuable, please hit the subscribe button and share it with a friend. Sergey, what is the biggest project you've ever won on Upwork?
I think it's around 300K per year, and we've been working for 2+ years.
What do you think most people get wrong when it comes to winning multiple 5 or 6-figure projects from a platform like Upwork?
I think they're not choosing the niche they're working in. So I think the first thing is just know who you want to work with, right? So you have all these job listings, and I think we have a clear process that we only apply for certain jobs. You know, like the client has some history. We work in education, so it's in education. And this is one thing, right? The first step is just to choosing wisely. And the second, how you communicate. Like, the first call, the second call, I think these 2 things had the biggest kind of impact. I think I've been doing this for a while, probably like 7 or 8 years. But I started with $250 projects.
Okay. So basically 10x in the space of 7 or 8 years, which is pretty impressive. Talk to me about what life and business was like 12 to 18 months ago, because I know when we spoke previously, you mentioned this concept of kind of considering getting a job. You're at a point where you weren't sure whether the business was going to work, and you thought maybe I need to just stop and go and get a job.
Yeah, I think I was in some kind of like comfortable position, zone of comfort. I had 2 big clients who really paid for everything, I would say, for our like whole expense. And we had some profits. And I think it was April. I knew that client would stop working with us. So he basically said they want to build internal team instead of having like a outside contractor. And this is where my panic started, because like I just wasn't doing anything like too much, getting new clients, especially that size. And I had to let go one person on my team. So it was a little bit like kind of painful. Actually two people. Yeah, it was 2 people, because they were working on that big client project, and I was more like a creative director basically there. And yeah, I just didn't know what to do. And I think I was considering like the worst case scenario, like what if I couldn't find the same size type of project, like what I would do. And like I was considering everything, like, and you know that I moved to Canada like just a year before the situation, and the cost of living is pretty high, and I couldn't like just start taking like small projects. I knew that I need big projects in order to have enough, and this is where my stress was coming from. I've met you at that time, and I think it felt like you could help. Like you could help at that situation.
What kind of impact only having those 2 or 3 clients and then the prospect of losing that client, what kind of impact was that having on your life?
That's the kind of feeling that you actually not in control. And I think you just get this stress. You're always in this stress of thinking, what if they stop, right? What if they decide to stop? What are we going to do? So I didn't have like a clear process how to get another one.
So it was giving you stress. What else was it creating?
I think I didn't know how to grow as well. It was a hard time, to be honest. Like these months, I was like, how do I grow it? Can this be bigger? I had this only channel, which is kind of random. And yeah, also like the financial kind of scarcity, all these things was like, they were confusing me. Like I was just, I didn't know what I need to do. Like was like the biggest, and you live and you don't know what to expect. I think this is the kind of a feeling I had.
Yeah, absolutely. And so fast forward to today, and one of the things that you said to me was, I would never consider getting a job now. I have this feeling, this sense of confidence that no matter what happens, things will be okay. So just paint us a picture, like using some kind of framework or strategy, like what has helped you go from that feeling of not really knowing how to grow, not knowing whether you needed to get another job, that stress or that sense of always worrying that that client was going to leave, to today when you feel a sense of confidence in yourself, in your ability, and in your business?
Yeah, I think the biggest concept that you shared with me was about the inputs. And I think this helped a lot. I think I was too focused on outcomes. Again, just to explain that you're focusing like how many you closed project, how many project you closed this month. And this is a little bit out of your control. And I think this concept helped me understand that I actually need to focus on my doing things, right? Like reach outs to people or like Upwork, or I've just switched this thing and I'm like, okay, I shouldn't worry about the project. Like, I mean, if I close it or not, I should worry about what I'm doing today so that occurs later.
Yeah. So like the metrics for like what's going to happen further down the road, right? So what can you control, the inputs of what you're doing day to day versus the focus on just whether you won the project or not.
Yeah. It's not only that for sure. But I mean, this is, I think, still today, it's like kind of fundamental, which I use. And I have like a sticker, which I write daily. How many like reached outs I did today or my team did today. And we measure, I think before we didn't measure it at all, this, but now we measure daily, weekly, monthly. So I know, okay, this week we didn't have enough activity, I would say, in order to create the projects. And I communicate with my team on a weekly basis. I basically posting in our communication channel that, look, guys, we did, let's say, 100 reach outs on LinkedIn. But last week we did 200. You see the difference? Like, why would why? Just what happened? And yeah, this is, I think, fundamental thing that is helping us to predict sales.
Interesting. So you've created predictability in sales by creating consistency in your inputs.
Yeah. And I worry if we don't have enough inputs. And I'm like, okay, something is going wrong. Like either I'm giving too much tasks to my team and they like just do a lot of different things. And I also like myself, like, checking like what I'm doing on a daily basis. or they just don't know what to do, or we don't have a list. So we're trying to solve this problem, why we don't have enough inputs.
That makes total sense. Okay. So I don't want to convolute this too much, because at the beginning we started talking about Upwork and those projects and what were the things that people get wrong. So I want to kind of tie this into Upwork as much as possible. I know you have other platforms that you use to get business, but I also know that a large portion of your work still comes through Upwork. And I also know that in the last 2 years, your revenue has grown pretty significantly, right?
Yeah, same concept actually on Upwork, right? How many bits you send per day? It's not always like I told you, like it's a bit unpredictable because you don't know if people post jobs. But I mean, if you look at maybe on a weekly like timeline or monthly timeline, you can see the difference. Like if you bid it 100 times or you bid it 200 times, it is a difference.
Yeah, I love that concept. Okay, cool. So now thinking about your level of confidence and where you're at now, like just describe to me and everybody listening what the contrast is like between when we first met and how you were feeling and how life was versus how things are now.
Yeah, like people say it's all about like feelings, right? Like how you feel yourself. Like I like what Hormozy said. I think he said like it's all about how do I feel myself, like on a daily basis. If I feel good, then it's good. And I think like this is what happened to me, that I wake up and I'm not stressed. And I'm excited. I'm like, go to my office, I wake up to like early. And I'm like, I don't have this feeling of stress that, what will happen. I think I'm just a bit more in control. And I'm actually like looking forward and looking like in the future instead of like worrying about today.
Yeah. What other areas of your life has this had an impact on? How else has this benefited your life?
I don't know. I just realized probably what business is. Just understood it, like what it takes. And I just show up every day knowing what it takes and what the potential upside in the future. And I think I've committed just to like, okay, I want to win. I know what it takes. Yes, it's hard. I just need time. And I think also like my circle, I've communicated with everybody. Like I said, look, I want to build this big thing. Like want to try. I will see you less. And I think, before I was like having this a little bit guilt that I don't spend enough time with friends or something like that. And maybe it was coming from, this people pleasing behavior. And now right now, no, I want to actually do that. Like I want to try do that. And yeah, I think I've just committed to this when before I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So you have this kind of sense of certainty, I guess.
Yeah.
So what else would you say to people listening who have maybe like tried the Upwork platform before? Because you talked about there's other elements. One of them is choosing the right niche. Another one of them is really focusing on the inputs rather than just the outputs. What other factors, what other tools, what other strategies have you used in order to land these big projects?
The big thing is conversations. I think at least again, I'm sharing my story, but I believe that many people on Upwork actually behave as I did like 2 years ago. What I mean by that, when you show up on the first meeting with the potential client, how did I behave? I like, yeah, what you need, yeah, we have these case studies. We're going to do that. And they're like, how much? I'm like, this much. And that's it. And they're like, okay, we have other 40 people in the applications. We'll come back. And some of them came back. Some of them didn't. What changed that? I don't know. Like in some moment, maybe I've just like, again, I was using also your frameworks, for the calls. But I think also it's a lot about just believing in that better how to do that and show up with this energy to the meeting. And I think what I changed, I just flipped this, and I'm like, they starting in call, and they like, tell us about your experience, like, and it feels like you're on job interview. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Wait a sec. I don't work like that. Let's talk about your business and what you're trying to achieve. And if I can help, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. And it's scary. Like, I mean, I understand people who like right now, I think I've did it like maybe like 50 times, maybe 100 times. And I'm just like, another one.
Let's break this down a little bit. We'll get onto the next strategy in a minute, but I just want to dig into this for people. So, is there anything you do prior to the call that allows you to take control of that first conversation?
Yeah, I usually write on my notebook like a steps I need to go over. Why me? Pre-frame.
Yeah. So you're talking about like you have a structure that you use that you have in front of you, right?
Yeah. Just putting like all these points and just check marking them along the way, and putting on the other hand notes. Like if we went through this process, this is first thing. And second, yeah, I'm checking what they actually described in the job.
Okay.
Usually it's some bullshit. They don't know how to, I don't know, communicate. They just put like, I think from ChatGPT, random words like, we need this technology and this technology, and we want to build education platform. And you're like, what? Why? What the reason? Like you're trying like, and it's hard. Like, and so many companies, they just read, and even I've just read it. Okay, we have these technologies, blah, blah, blah. Let's do that. But like what changed, I'm trying to understand actually where they are and what they're trying to achieve.
Are there any times in the past where you've had resistance to that? Like someone jumps on a call and they're like, right, Sergey, thank you for taking the time. Anyway, and they just get straight into the project, or they start interviewing you.
I think it's most of the times like that.
So what do you do in that instance when they dive in like that?
Yeah, I usually say, I understand that like you have a process in mind, but I do too. And I think it will be more valuable to you if we follow my path, my structure.
Okay, cool. And most people are open to that?
Yeah, I would say yes. And I think, again, it's all about how you start the meeting. I think if you start meeting and just give them too much time, this is when it's hard to then break this, conversation. It's like, I think it's all how you start. I think you need to start like with this rapport building, and then just as soon as you finish the small talk, I think I'm taking the initiative. And you can see like, this weird pause. They don't know, like they need to say something or you need to say something. And this is where I'm jumping in. I'm like, this is the time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you kind of get on, you're like, hey, Sergey, nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. And you make sure that you're the one that does the pre-frame, right? And so for anyone that doesn't know, can you just explain what that is for anyone that doesn't know what a pre-frame is and like how to structure these calls?
Yeah, I think what I usually write is like, okay, we have rapport. And I think it's actually really important. And sometimes I skipped it. But right now, I really actually focus on this. Like, where are you from? Oh, I'm here in Vancouver. You there somewhere in States, blah, blah, blah. And I said then, look, I'm really glad, right? Let's pre-frame. I'm trying to pre-frame the meeting, like what to expect. So I'm trying to say, like, we're going to talk about your project details, but I also want to talk about business goals, where you are now, what do you want to achieve, and what is missing, like what is standing in the way. And then I say, if I can help, I suggest next step. If I can't, I'll do my best to make some recommendations, right, basically. And then I ask them if that's okay.
Nice. Yeah. So you're giving them a pre-frame. You're basically taking the lead of the conversation, which I think is one of the keys to winning high-value clients. I think one of the things that people underestimate is the power of leadership in these kind of conversations. Also, the power of challenging people around their assumptions, around their own process. And so what I'm hearing here is that one of the key tools you're using on Upwork is this framework that when you get on a call, you're not just letting them interview you, you're flipping that switch. So you're kind of interviewing them, but not about the project brief, about their business and what they're trying to achieve, right?
Yeah, and some people not ready for these conversations. And I realize that if they're not ready to this conversation, they probably don't have a budget. I'm more chilled right now about this, and I'm like, okay, if you can't talk about, like, I literally had this conversation maybe a few weeks ago when guy, he like obviously too small of the business. He's kind of like a startup, and he's like, I was asking him like, what are you trying to achieve? And he actually was struggling to answer. He's like, why do you need that? Like, why are you asking this? How does help my project? And I'm like, look, if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, how do I know? And it didn't work out. Like, he was a little bit pissed, but I'm like, look, it's hard for me also to understand what you're trying to do. I understand you want to do a website or like whatever he wanted, but why? Like, what in the end?
Yeah, so you know whether you're going to actually be able to help that person, right?
Yeah, and right now a little bit more. Again, I think the big topic also about this mindset of abundance and understanding that, okay, if not them, somebody else would, like, giving the space for better leads and just be okay if it's no.
How long did it take you to switch that mindset?
A bit.
Yeah. What helped?
Yeah, now it sounds like, it's like he's saying this, it's easy. No, it's not. I think I spent like probably a year. And what helped? Good question. I think what helped is tracking. I started tracking everything, my time spent on a weekly basis and leads. So I know everything, right? What is happening. So what I usually do, like sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly, I look at my schedule and I see, okay, I had 6 conversations with these leads and I didn't close anyone from those meetings. And I'm asking myself, what is the reason? What happened? And most of the time, they're just not a good fit. And because I also behave differently, right? I'm like, I could spend an hour on this meeting and then just like, oh, we just have $500. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And this is all about this, like structuring the conversation. And then I knew like, okay, like Matt told me, like, use this framework, man, like just do that. And you're basically going through this cycle of pain and you understand, okay, it's something needs to change because you're just wasting time. So I think it's all about tracking and measuring things. And if you do the old way and it doesn't work, and you see it pretty clearly, like in numbers, in report, whatever, like how you track, and you just, okay, like now I have, it's not only in my mind, this is the reality. And you need to accept it, that your current process doesn't work. And even if you worried to mess up the meeting, it's still better than doing the previous way, because previous way didn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think tracking is really important. How have you kept an abundance mindset and been detached from the outcome even when cash flow has been tight?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I think I started believing that if I agree to 10K project, I could miss 200K project. Because like what will happen if you agree to 10K project? So you start this conversation, you need to do a kickoff meeting. So it's a lot of time you're starting basically wasting, right? Even if your team like is amazing and they do everything for you, you're still involved somehow a little bit. And all this time you involved, you're probably like missing out on these big opportunities. And they exist. And we know that we had those like before. So I'm just trying to give a little bit of space. Like I'm just, okay, 10K sounds good, but 200K would be better.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of faith that there are those projects out there. Have you had times when that faith has been difficult to keep?
Yeah, I think what helped, again, if I add a little bit to the previous question, it's like, I think we had 1 month where we knew that we would be negative in our revenue. I mean, like in our profits. And we fixed this problem within 2 weeks. And I knew that, okay, if I don't have even enough in my forecast, in my like, that we have enough money coming in, I still can take a little bit pause because I know if I need like immediately or, something will happen. It was before and we did it and we fixed this problem within 2 weeks. So I think I know that even the worst case scenario, if this worst case scenario occurs, I'm gonna fix it. So knowing that allow me to slow down, right? And just, okay, just not a good fit. Let's try. Like we have time. Like we don't need to rush it right now. And I think also having, yeah, you said like if you don't have cash, yeah. Yeah, if you have cash, it's easier. Like, I mean, if you have some kind of pipeline of projects and you know that like 3 months, 6 months ahead, you have not even like a cash flow, not even like a cash in the bank, but I mean, like, that these projects are going and they clients committed for 6 months work, you kind of just a little bit more chilled, right, about this. You just know, okay, it's happening. But also it's a trap, I think, for most people, because it's like, okay, 6 months, we've locked in this contract, let's do nothing. I mean, with marketing and sales. Or just like they know they need to do, or like I know I needed to do, but I started focusing too much on delivery right away. Okay, we're busy. It's good. Let's deliver. And then you're like, that project will finish in 1 month, and you're like starting again this worry and anxiety, like, okay, it's again. So again, this, if we come back to this concept of inputs, they never should stop. They should never stop. It's just, you're just doing them, even if you're crazy busy. Because I think what I also realized, when you're crazy busy, this is the best time to have these sales conversations. And I think this was also like a bit of game changer, because I'm like, I actually don't care if you sign up or no. I'm already busy. And this energy, like, also, like when you show up with the energy that you're busy and they see that you are busy, they already project that you're an expert because you're busy. And you're talking to them like, I have 4 projects going on. I can probably take one more, but that's it. Because like we don't want to grow the team right now. We are happy with the team size.
Yeah.
Before I actually rushed to hire people.
So it sounds like slowing down is a big thing that's allowed you to grow.
Yeah.
What was it that allowed you to fix that cash flow problem in 2 weeks? What did you do?
Just double the inputs.
Right.
I'm just like, we need to do more right now. And I was talking just to many, many people. Like we did all the channels, like an Upwork and LinkedIn, and just whole team, like, we need cash. Current clients, old clients, what can we sell? But it's like, it's manageable. I mean, it's not the best time, like when you need the cash, like, but it's doable. And I think knowing that you can do that allow you to slow down in the future.
Yeah, I love that. Such a powerful message. Okay, cool. Let's focus on, is there anything else that we've missed? If someone listening to this wants to get to the point where they're landing 6-figure clients.
Yeah. I told you this story once. So it was a meeting with a potential client. I've read the job. The meeting started, and I had this in my mind that they have 50K. I don't know where it's coming from. It's just, they have probably 50K. It's so weird and stupid to project how much money they have. And then I said, like, again, I was stressed a little bit, like worried in that moment to say that. And I'm like, because you scared to lose them, right? And you like, they put a lot of requirements and they like explained everything they want to build. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like huge. And like, it's really like, and I knew that we did something similar before, and it took us almost a year to build. And I'm like, it's probably guys 250 and 300K. And I'm like, already gave up in my mind when I said that. And they like, yeah, that's actually our budget. And I was so blown away. I'm like, what? I thought like in my mind, you have 50K for this project. I didn't say that, but I mean.
You thought it in your head, yeah.
Yeah. And this is where I think still today I need to be more kind of focusing about the outcome focusing on outcome rather than just thinking how much money they have. It's good question still to ask, right? Like, what is your budget? But projecting how much they have and not asking, it's a like weird game.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when they imagine doing stuff on Upwork, they just think low value clients who don't have a budget and who are difficult to work with, right?
Yeah, this is something I changed probably in my mind also, like, changed this belief that all people, all clients or prospective clients, they the same everywhere. It's just different channels how you start talking with them. So if you started talking on LinkedIn or Upwork, it doesn't matter. The same, it's people. And they have businesses and they have their problems. So if they coming from Upwork, yeah, they maybe have some idea on the project cost, but it doesn't matter what they think. It's matter what the problem we're trying to solve and what they're trying to achieve. And it doesn't matter what the platform, like whatever you use, like even if it's a referral and your friend recommended someone to you, same process, same person, same business, whatever. It's just doesn't matter.
So you're basically saying treat all of your prospects equally, no matter where they come from. And I guess that comes back to still using the framework every single time, right?
Yeah. It's just people.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would say about, so far we've got positioning, we've got a lot of mindset stuff. We've got this cool structure. We've got this idea of not being attached to the outcome and kind of treating all prospects equally. Is there anything else that's had like a significant impact in this kind of transformation from where you were to where you are today?
Yeah, I think a lot. I want to stress this a little bit, like a lot of things coming from the mindset shifts and beliefs. And in the beginning, when you were explaining to me like 2 years ago some things, I was so pessimistic or like just I didn't believe, right? And I know that this is the big problem overall the world has. That people think, okay, I just need a strategy, I just need a tool, they know better, they know some secret. But the reality is what you believe in, right? And I think you need to shift your gears in your head. And this is, it's hard to understand first, and it's hard to change, and hard to believe that this is the root of the problem. You're just like, okay, Matt knows how to run a sales call. I just need to copy what he said. And it doesn't work because it's not about script, and people like feel how you behave. And this is like, I think also the biggest like a kind of takeaway I had, that it's like we all know and understand what you want, whatever you say. I can just feel it. If your script is amazing, but your intention is bad, all people, not only me, everybody will understand. And it's like, it's all about these beliefs and how you show up and how you think about yourself, about the client. These things are like, I would say 80%. And I didn't believe that. And I was so kind of I was skeptical. This is the word I was looking for. I was skeptical. I'm like, what is happening? Like I paid a lot for this training, like for this, like, and the guy tell me like, I need to think differently. Like, like give me a script.
Yeah, what is this bullshit, man? Just tell me what to say. That's funny, like, because you mentioned at the beginning that you had some things to add about being a bit skeptical or beliefs. Like, tell me a little bit more about what was going through your mind, maybe like before you started working with me, but also like at the beginning. And because I think this is such an important point, and like I've had a bit of experience this week with kind of talking to people about various different things, and it's just people are just so full of these limiting, I don't really like the word limiting beliefs, but they are full of beliefs that are not getting them what they want more of, and they have so many stories about why that is. Tell me from your perspective, from somebody who's been through this, from somebody who's transformed their business and is winning six-figure projects on Upwork, what were you skeptical about, and what were those beliefs that you had at the time before we started working together, or even as we started working together?
First is just believing that on Upwork you don't have high value clients, right? It's like they all want to save money, like this mindset. And yeah, Upwork is bad. Yeah, I'm still like not the fan. Just don't get me wrong. Like I'm like still want to build more from the like in other channels, more leads. Disclaimer: it's just not predictable. It's not predictable. Like you can control what people post. This is the problem. Yeah, but right, if they post, it doesn't mean that's a low budget project. Not all of them, at least. And some of them, big clients with big businesses, and they just lazy and they go to Upwork. You can think like that if it helps. They just lazy, they go to Upwork because they know they just post and a lot of people will reply and they don't need to do anything else to find a person. And this is advantage because you can show up as an expert and tell them, okay, it's expensive, but it will help. And yeah, just again to follow up on this story, I had a client, like we told them like this project, like we were the most expensive bid, and he told us that he like, you guys 3 times more expensive, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like we have a great team, and we have like a great experience. And I don't think these guys have it who bid 3 times lower, and they just don't know what they even need to do with your project. And we know. So it's believe also like comes back to beliefs that you have a candy. And I like this a lot, what you said some time ago to me, that you have something they don't have, not the other way around. I think this is the big belief also I had to crush, which is like they know better because they have money. And this is the bad thing. It's like you know better and they're happy to pay you money for that. And this is also like, again, could be like a second belief, right? And this belief again that it's a lot in this world, like abundance, right? It's like the world is big. 8 billion people. And if this opportunity is not a great fit, or evenly right now I treat these calls like what I feel right now. Is it a good fit? Like, are these guys adequate? Can I work with them? Like, because I will spend with them probably like next 6 months or maybe year or maybe 2 years, because like I'm still want to have like a long-term relationship with the client. And if they behave bad on the first meeting, like even if they have money, I will need to think twice, because it's like it will be just hard later. And like I told you, like I'm more concerned about what happens when deal is closed, not about the deal. Like, so if you think about this, right? If you worry too much to close the deal, it's also, I think, wrong. I think you need to worry a lot what will happen next when you close it. How much work and stuff and communication you will have with this person. It's a lot. I don't know. It will be hard to unpack like 2 years of this my mindset shifting.
Yeah, I was also intrigued as to like what was going on in your head, like just from a pure getting help and coaching perspective. What are some of the things that you were skeptical about, and what are some of the beliefs that maybe you had?
You have a belief if you charge more. I don't know if it's a true belief, but it's like if you charge more, they maybe won't choose you, right? And you will lose. And I think I changed this with, if we charge more, we can help better, because I can hire better people. I can spend more on whatever, on software. I just, like, have more resources. Even if something goes wrong with the project, or we miss a couple of details on requirements or whatever, I know we have enough to fix these problems and what matters in the end result. And I have more budget to increase likelihood of this result occurs, right? So it's like not charging more because I want to earn more. It's charging more to have a better result.
Yeah, love that, man.
And you can communicate this as well with your clients. It's like, look, okay, these guys told you that they will charge you like 10 times less. Okay, like let's just do just math. Can you hire this guy, and this guy with this money? You can't. With a good level of expertise, you just can't. You can rely on freelancer, right? And that they do that. But what if they don't? What will happen then? Then you'll pay twice.
Yeah, so it's like the shift that more money isn't just about being selfish and wanting more. It's actually about being able to deliver a better product, right? Sergey, just before we kind of bring this conversation to a close, can you share a little bit about your background? Like where you come from and just a little bit about your story?
So I'm from Ukraine. I twice moved out from the war. So the war started in Donbas region. I was living there, so I had to move. I moved to Kharkiv, lived there for 7 or 8 years, bought apartment, did renovation, had an office, and then got moved out again and just lose everything basically. So this is like how I end up living in Canada overall. From my expertise perspective and my work, so I was studying in computer engineering faculty, like in this, engineering university, whatever. And on the second year, I applied to a couple of jobs, on different sort of jobs. Like I was trying to do 3D, I was trying to do front end, back end. Like I just did a lot of things, and I was trying to find what I like. And my friend actually told me, you're doing great, like on design, like you're doing great design things. Like, can you apply to design jobs? And I'm like, yeah. And then like I saw the job post, and they said, send us portfolio. I spent a night designing 3 websites. They were terrible. I did this, and I went to this interview, and I said, I don't need money. I will work for free. I just want to learn. And they took me, and they paid something even. And I think maybe 7 months or 8 months later, I just like, oh, okay, I can do that everything on freelance. and I was just underpaid, like on this job, but I was still thankful that they taught me like some stuff. So I started my freelance career, and then at some point I was learning a lot about product design, and what it is. And I was really curious to actually build things like apps, complicated apps. And the problem was I never was able to see the result of our work, like tangible. Like, I mean, okay, it's like Figma design, but I can't use it. I can't test it. All these concepts that out of my grasp, like I just can't do that. So the idea came in my mind. Maybe I partner with developers and I start doing the whole project from start to the end. So I have whole cycle. I had some friend. She said like, these guys are great. Go talk to them. I basically like went to their office, like knocked the door and said, look, you don't have design. I have design. We can help better our clients if we work together. They'll probably just get better portfolio and all this stuff. And we started doing that maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, probably 4 years ago. It was hard. Like I was learning a lot about software, but I think this collaboration with tech team and engineers taught me a lot about how things are built So it's even changed how we design things. And then those guys told me, we actually have a product that we wanted to build, and we have some first drafts, but we didn't have a design, and like maybe we'd need to do something about it. And a year later, we had an agreement to build together a product, a digital product, so software as a service. And it's all about like education still. We're still in our niche in education. And we thought if we build this product, we can help even more our clients. So we can give them our product or we can do a custom project, but based on our product, which simplifies our work, but gives more benefit to a client. Again, all these details, long story short, we started doing a product. We spent on it 3 years. Right now it's 3.5 years. And today we have 15 subscribers. And I think we won big projects also because of that, because I could show something that I did where it's my baby. Nobody controlled what we do. And this is also a great case study when I sell high ticket offers. So for example, right, if we come back to all these conversations, we could say, how did you sell? What did you show? How did you show the portfolio when you closed like 250K? I spent 3 years of my investment in a product which I built. Nobody paid for that. Yes, sometimes like now we have some subscriptions and it's great, but I also have a big case study that we did this. And I knew that like on my my logical thinking, if I have something to show that I did and it's clickable, it's not Figma, people using it. We have today around 30,000 students in our product. And like this is not the low figure numbers, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is where am I today? I'm still trying to grow this product and still have some custom development projects. But now I'm not just a designer, right? I treat myself as a like software developer. I would say like a software product owner. I know how to build things from nothing. And I did this like a lot of times.
And so that's part of the kind of learning journey, right? It's part of what you're passionate about, which is clear that you've demonstrated, like moving to another country, learning another language, learning about how to build products and, develop things. What's the mission? What are you really up to in the world?
Yeah, I think when we started building this product, we did a little bit of like competitor research, and it's stupid. Like I wouldn't do like that today, but we said all our competitors have a shitty user experience. This was only the thing which pushed me to start doing this. But still today, I believe that we have the great user experience comparing to our competitors. And how this, if we think about the mission, right, how this helps. If we can build a tool which useful for educators and they can teach better because of that, and they teach more, we together can change the world. I'm not an educator, but I can help them. And I know that they struggle every day because I talk to a lot. And they're like, yeah, I have like all my hours, like I'm so busy, I don't know how to grow my business. And I know that key to solve their problems, not in marketing, but actually in keep things in order in their business. And this is what I'm trying to give them a tool so that they can have a better business. And if they have a better business, they can transform more lives. They can teach more people. So what I'm trying to do today, building software that will help them to do that.
Love that, man. What role has education played in your life? Why are you so passionate about it?
Yeah, I don't know how. Probably like it was some intention in my mind, but when in my first 3 years of my journey, when I did this analysis of my projects, I had a lot of like a just weird, all different projects. Like it's like, all this mass. You just like, you did mobile app for fitness app, or you did education, or you did some betting up or whatever. I just had a lot of different things. But one point was interesting that I had 7 education technology projects at that time. And it just was the biggest number in my portfolio that I had 7. And I was just curious, okay, if I have already 7, it's easier for me to sell because of that. Let's like go further on that. But also like but it's funny, like it's we can think that it was unintentional, right? It just happened. But I think it's not true. I think it's that I was actually curious more about these projects. That's why I closed them. And something was about me that I got these projects. And yeah, I think right now I understand this better. Before, probably I didn't, but I actually like learning. I just like all these books. You can read a book, but I actually trying to study a book. Just have my Figma like crazy board with this book and all these tasks, like what I can do, so I can tell you back what I learned. And I think the more, actually I treat it like right now as a rest. If I'm reading a book, I'm like, it's just a rest for me. Yeah, so like I like learning, and I think I was learning design, I was learning English, I was learning sales. And I think because I'm like have this problem solving mindset, I see right away, okay, if they taught me like that, I would understand better and quicker. So I think I know a little bit better how they could improve their process, so the students not struggle and they can do better, like, and learn quicker. Yeah, and I think all this like coming from this pattern that I just like to learn.
Love that, man. Where can people find out more about you if they want to connect with you, if they want to find out more about your platform?
Yeah, LinkedIn probably the best place where I'm the most responsible. Like post from time to time. I don't know. Yeah, you can attach my link to LinkedIn.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description below, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. It's definitely an inspirational one, and I think people will find this episode very valuable. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having this impact on my business. I could be like so skeptical, but if we look back today, all this worked out, right? And like I want like to speak to people who may be considering to work with you today. And I want to say, like, I think Chris Do told me, like, if you picked your mentor, just trust him.
Yeah.
And not second guessing everything they say. If they said this, you do that and you don't ask. This is for people who are considering.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Dude, it's been awesome having you on. Thank you so much for being a guest and sharing all of your insight and your knowledge.
Thank you.